The lies, the lies, the lies. And Dirty John Season 3, where are you at? Because this needs to be it. As we have been going through Lila Shapiro's New York Magazine article, The Man Who Gossiped Too Much, which is centered around none other than that of John Nelson. And who is John Nelson, you ask? John Nelson is none other than Enty Lawyer from the infamous celebrity blind website Crazy Days and Nights, where majority of folks get their celebrity blinds from. If it's not from Demois, Lipstick Alley, or Old School, Ted Casablanca. So if you are a podcast that covers celebrity blinds, or if you are, rest in peace, Kyle Marissa, or Celebrity on TikTok, that's where you get your blinds from, all of which are very familiar with this article. But they all get their information from this untrustworthy, horrible POS of a person. And what makes him that? Well, Lila Shapiro has been describing in a very intelligent writer way, of course, the type of person that he is, carrying on a very long affair with a fellow podcaster, Cassandra, who reached out to him to collaborate on a podcast. And then that relationship picked up steam under the premise that she was aware that he was single. She didn't even think she had any kids. But then his wife reaches out. She finds out the truth. He denies it, saying that they are separating, they're going through a divorce. She's a drunk, she's this, that, who knows what to believe on that front. His wife calls her a liar, a grifter. He reassures Cassandra. They get over all of this. They start making plans for him to move her and her 3 kids, 2 of which have special needs, across the country from Florida to California. And 32 minutes after he texts her, "I love you," and she thinks he's on his way from the Tampa airport to come out there to move them across the country. Knock, knock on the door isn't her love. It is her being served a restraining order for stalking. So let's get into it more in Lila's article. In his initial restraining order against Cross, Nelson claimed the relationship had ended in March 2023, a month after his final visit. In fact, it continued through November. He said Cross had stalked him and repeatedly threatened to dox him in an effort to harm his business and personal life. I asked if he had ever tried to simply break up with her. All the time, he said. What words had he used? Nelson hesitated. You can't actually say I want to break up. You can't actually do that, he said. Why not? Because you literally get these texts every other day. If you don't call me, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, I'm going to ruin your life. Blackmail doesn't have to be about money. Nelson admitted he repeatedly lied to Cross, telling her he was single and younger than he. Then he was pretending to buy plane tickets he never bought, sending her photographs he never had taken to make it look like he had tried to visit her when he had never even left India. That's where he's from. Yes, he told Cross over and over that he and his wife were divorcing when they never had even separated. He doctored a document to look like a page from a divorce filing that did not exist. And yes, he and Cross continue to meet on Zoom for sexual activity nearly every night for 9 months, though he's adamant he never monitored what she ate. Cross shared many texts indicating that he did. Am I proud of it? No, but at the same time, again, I didn't have a choice. He claimed he was trying to stop him from abusing him. Every day was just like, I hope today is not the day where I'm going to get yelled at. Throughout this ordeal, Jenkins, who had sued him, did not know of his identity. He said he stayed with Cross in part because he was worried that Jenkins would ruin him, and Cross made good on her threats to expose him. It was only after the lawsuit settled in June that he resolved to end the relationship, but it took a few more months before he acted. He said the final straw came about a week before Cross and her children were yelled at him over the phone for over an hour. The following day, he told a lawyer that Cross had to be served because this is just spiraling out of control. Over text message the same night, he wrote to Cross, "I can't wait to destroy and F the hell out of you the first night you are here." In the part, he seemed astounded that Cross had taken him so seriously. It's just like, how can she believe that we're going to be together? I asked what was going on in his head while he was talking to Cross about her plans to pull her kids out of school and therapy. He replied that Cross should have known better. She didn't even have an address where she was going to move to. She had no clue. Would you take your 3 kids across the country and not know where you were going to live? The day after Cross received the stalking order, she and her friend Tiffany Busby, a nurse living in New Jersey, released the first episode of a podcast centered on the affair. Busby told listeners that Cross had been in a relationship with someone who was diabolical and, in Busby's assessment, incredibly famous. They've been planning to make a celebrity true crime podcast called Drenched in Drama since the summer Cross first met Enty. All they needed was a subject. Now they had one. Over more than 100 posts and episodes, Cross and Busby narrate the story of Cross's relationship with Nelson, with occasional detours into his history of false statements about Jenkins and O'Rourke and other related subjects. In retrospect, Cross saw Nelson as psychologically and physically abusive. She told her listeners he had groomed her, preying on her desperation for a partner and a father to her children before showing himself to be sadistic. She pondered the idea of, by deception, when someone lies to obtain sex, a rare category of it that American courts have largely rejected. Cross never consented, she told me, to being used by the man that Enty turned out to be.